Love. It's not just some sweet fairy tale wrapped in candlelight and whispered promises. No, love is work. Love is warfare. It's the steady hand holding you through storms, the quiet presence when the world goes silent. And today, we're peeling back the layers, diving deep into something most won't tell you. 4 signs that a man doesn't just say he loves you, he proves it. Every single day. Stick around, because what I'm about to share, it's going to change how you look at love forever. And trust me, number 2 might just catch you off guard. See, love isn't this dreamy mist floating around in the air. It's like building a house brick by brick. And if those bricks aren't solid, that house falls apart the moment the wind howls. As Carl Jung once said, "You are what you do, not what you say you'll do." That's the difference between a man who says he loves you and a man who shows he does. Words are cheap. Anybody can string together some sweet nothings. But actions, they're the real currency of love. Imagine a garden. Anyone can plant seeds. But love is the man who shows up every day, rain or shine, to water it, to pull the weeds, to nurture it until it blooms. That's love in action. So before we jump in, take a second. If this message hits home, if you believe that love deserves more than just empty words, hit that like button. Subscribe. Help us spread this truth, because someone out there needs to hear it just as much as you do. Now, let's get into it. Love is a force, but not like the lightning bolt that strikes fast and burns out. Real love is the river that carves through stone, steady, patient, unstoppable. Jung once said, "The meeting of 2 personalities is like the contact of 2 chemical substances. If there is any reaction, both are transformed." That's what love should do. It should change you, shape you, make you better. But how do you know if a man loves you like that? Not just likes you, not just tolerates you, but truly adores you. Because here's the truth. A man can stand beside you but never stand with you. He can share your bed but not share your dreams. And that difference, it's everything. Think of love like a lighthouse. Words are the light. It can be seen from miles away. But actions, that's the foundation beneath the waves, the stone that doesn't crumble when the storms come crashing. And if that foundation is weak, it all falls apart. Jung teaches us that until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. Many of us fall into patterns, loving men who speak beautifully but act carelessly. But once you see the signs, you can break free. You can choose better. You can know better. And that's what today is about. These 4 signs, they're not just signals of love. They're proof that the man standing beside you is ready to build, to grow, to fight for something real. So, if you're ready to see love for what it really is, not the fantasy, but the foundation, let's dive in. Because love isn't magic. Love is muscle. And today, we're flexing it. Sign 1. He puts you first, not last. Here's a truth that might sting a little, but it needs to be said. When a man truly loves you, he makes space for you at the center of his life, not at the edges. You're not an option he flips through when he's bored or has nothing better to do. You're a priority, like oxygen, something he can't imagine his life without. Think about the sun. Does the sun ever forget to rise? Does it ever get too busy to show up in the morning? No, it's consistent, steady, and vital. A man who loves you will be like that sun, showing up for you day after day, not because he has to, but because it's in his nature. And if right now, you're sitting there wondering, why does he always take hours to reply? Why does he make time for everyone else but me? Listen closely, because actions don't lie. As Carl Jung once said, you are what you do, not what you say you'll do. If he says he loves you, but you're always left waiting, feeling like you're on the back burner, guess what? You are on the back burner. Here's a metaphor to hold on to. Imagine you're planting a tree. You can't just toss a seed into the dirt and hope it grows. You've got to water it, tend to it, make sure it gets sunlight. That's what a man does when he loves you. He doesn't just throw a few words your way and disappear. He shows up consistently, tending to the relationship like that tree, because he knows that's how love grows. But what if he's just really busy? What if he's stressed out with work? Let's talk about that. Sure, life gets hectic. We all have responsibilities, deadlines, pressures. But here's the thing. We make time for what we value. If a man can find time to scroll through his phone, hang out with his friends, hit the gym, or binge watch his favorite show, but somehow never finds the time to check in on you, that's not busyness. That's a choice. Carl Jung spoke deeply about human nature and the unconscious patterns that drive us. He once said, "Knowing your own darkness is the best method for dealing with the darkness of other people." When you allow yourself to see clearly without making excuses for him, you start to recognize these patterns for what they are. And that gives you power. Because here's what real love looks like. It shows up, even when it's inconvenient. Love doesn't punch a time clock. It doesn't only show up when things are easy or fun. A man who truly loves and adores you will be there when you're feeling low, when you're struggling, when you're not your best self. He'll be present when it's messy, not just when it's magical. And let's flip the script for a moment. If the only time he calls is when he needs something, if he's only showing up when the sun's shining but disappears when the clouds roll in, that's not love. That's self-interest wrapped in pretty words. Real love isn't selfish. It gives without keeping score. I know what you might be thinking, but what if I wait long enough? What if he realizes? And here's where I'll lean on Jung again, who warned, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate." In other words, if you keep waiting, hoping he'll change, without acknowledging what's right in front of you, you're letting these unconscious patterns run your life. Love isn't about waiting around for someone to maybe see your worth. It's about recognizing your worth right now. Picture this. Two people rowing a boat together. Both have to row, or you'll just spin in circles. A man who loves you rows with you. He doesn't sit back, letting you do all the work while he drifts along for the ride. So, here's the real question. Is he rowing with you, or are you just dragging him along? When a man adores you, you don't have to chase him down for his time or attention. He gives it willingly, because being with you feels like home. You don't feel like an obligation. You feel like his safe place. And if you're not feeling that right now, if you're always wondering where you stand, questioning if you matter, listen to that feeling, because deep down, you already know the answer. Jung believed in confronting truth, even when it hurts. And that's what this is. A moment to ask yourself, am I an option or a priority? A man who loves you will never make you wonder. Stay tuned, because sign number 2, it's the one most women miss, and it just might surprise you. If this message is hitting home, like and subscribe. Help spread this truth so no woman ever has to question her worth again. Sign 2. He celebrates your joy and success. This may surprise you. Let's talk about something that doesn't get said enough. Love isn't just about standing beside you in the storms. It's about standing beside you in the sunshine too. When things are going right, when you're winning, shining, rising up, that's when you'll see a man's heart laid bare. And this right here, this might surprise you. A man who truly loves you will celebrate your joy like it's his own. He won't shrink in your light. He won't flinch when you rise higher. Instead, he'll reach over and lift you even higher, because your happiness is his happiness. You see, anyone can hold your hand when you're hurting. That's easy. Pain naturally draws people close. But when you're out there winning, when you're getting that promotion, chasing that dream, standing in your power, that's when the cracks in a man's love or ego will show. Because here's the hard truth. Not every man can handle your shine. Carl Jung taught us that the most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely. And this applies to love too. A man who hasn't accepted his own worth, his own shadow, his own fears, he won't know how to accept your greatness. He'll feel threatened by it. He'll try to dim your light just enough so that his shines a little brighter. That's not love. That's insecurity in disguise. Let's put this into perspective. Picture a candle. Now imagine another candle lighting from it. Does the first flame grow smaller because it lit another? No. Real love is like that flame. It shares the light without losing any of its own. A man who adores you will light your fire without ever worrying that his will burn less brightly. He knows that both of you shining only makes the room warmer, brighter, better. But here's the part that stings. Sometimes you're with someone who tells you, be realistic. You get excited about a dream, and they roll their eyes, bring up the risks, the downsides, the reasons why you shouldn't even try. You share your wins, maybe something small like finishing a project or something big like landing that job you've wanted, and they shrug it off, change the subject, or worse, make it about them. And in that moment, you're left standing there, questioning if your joy is too loud. Let me tell you right now, your joy is never too loud for the right man. A man who loves you will want to hear you celebrate. He'll cheer you on, not because he feels obligated, but because your wins feel like his wins too. Your smile becomes the reflection of his effort, his love, his partnership. Jung once said, "Who looks outside, dreams. Who looks inside, awakes." A man who has done his inner work, who's looked inside himself, doesn't need to compete with you. He doesn't need to be better than you or have more than you. He's awake enough to know that life isn't a competition between partners. It's a collaboration. Your success doesn't threaten him. It fuels him. And let's flip this around, because I know the questions swirling in your mind. But what if he just isn't expressive? What if he supports me quietly? And yes, that's fair. Not every man is going to jump up and down or throw a party. But even the quietest man will show you he cares. Maybe it's in the way he listens deeply when you talk about your achievements. Maybe it's the way his eyes light up when you're passionate about something. Maybe it's the small, thoughtful gestures, the supportive text, the way he tells his friends about what you've accomplished, even if he's not loud about it. Love always finds a way to express itself. It doesn't have to shout, but it never stays silent. And here's another metaphor to bring this home. Imagine you're climbing a mountain. The air gets thin, the path gets steep. You reach a higher point. Now, the man beside you, does he pull you back down because the climb's too tough for him? Or does he climb right alongside you, maybe even pushing you higher, giving you a boost when you need it? That's what a man in love does. He doesn't pull you down. He helps you rise. But if he's pulling back, if he's making your climb harder, if every step you take upward feels like it creates more distance between you, that's not love. That's a man wrestling with his own shadows. Jung reminded us that we must face those shadows because there is no coming to consciousness without pain. And for some men, watching a woman succeed stirs up their deepest insecurities. That's their pain to deal with, not yours to carry. So ask yourself, when you win, does he stand beside you or behind you? Does he lift you or limit you? Because the man who truly loves you, he will celebrate every part of you, your dreams, your victories, your light. And if he doesn't, you already know the answer. Stick with me, because sign 3 is where we dig even deeper into what real love feels like when it's tested. And if this truth is resonating with you, like and subscribe. Let's spread this message far and wide, because every woman deserves a love that celebrates her. Sign 3. He protects you, emotionally, mentally, spiritually. Let's get into something that cuts deeper than surface-level love. Protection. And I'm not just talking about locking the doors at night or standing up to someone in a bar. No, I'm talking about the kind of protection that holds you steady when life starts shaking. The kind that keeps your heart safe, your mind at peace, and your spirit lifted. Because love should never feel like an emotional roller coaster, where one day you're flying high feeling cherished, and the next, you're plummeting, wondering where you stand. That's not love. That's chaos, dressed in romance. A man who truly adores you isn't just there for the good times. He's there to protect every part of you, emotionally, mentally, spiritually. He becomes a safe space in a world that's often anything but safe. You don't have to wonder if today is the day he shows up or the day he pulls away. No guessing, no games. He chooses you every single day. Carl Jung spoke to this when he said, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are." But how can you become who you are if you're constantly walking on eggshells? If your voice is silenced, your feelings dismissed, your spirit dimmed? The right man protects that journey. He doesn't stand in the way of your growth. He shields it. He clears the path so you can walk it fully, fearlessly. Protection starts in the smallest places. It's not always about grand gestures. It's in the way he listens, not to respond, not to fix, but to hear you. When you're upset, even if he doesn't fully understand why, he doesn't roll his eyes or call you too sensitive. He doesn't weaponize your emotions against you. Instead, he sits with you in them. He makes space for your feelings, even when they're messy, because he knows that validating your emotions is protecting your heart. It's in those quiet moments where he holds your trust like something fragile and precious. He doesn't lie. He doesn't deceive. He doesn't make you question where his loyalty lies. Jung once said, "Trust that which gives you meaning, and accept it as your guide." And trust is the foundation here. When a man loves you, he knows your heart isn't a toy. It's a gift. He handles it with care, with respect, because he knows the damage that carelessness can cause. And yes, let's not ignore the physical. Protection means walking you to your car at night, not because he thinks you're weak, but because he knows the world can be cruel. It's making sure you get home safe. It's standing up for you in rooms you're not even in. Because real love speaks up, even when you're not there to hear it. But the deepest, most powerful level of protection, spiritual. This is where most men fall short, because it requires more than presence. It requires purpose. A man who truly loves you prays for you, whether that's to God, the universe, or simply holding you in his thoughts. He doesn't just want you to survive. He wants you to thrive. He sees your potential and becomes a mirror, reflecting back the best version of you, even when you can't see it yourself. Jung reminded us, your vision will become clear only when you look into your heart. Who looks outside, dreams. Who looks inside, awakes. A man who protects you spiritually pushes you to awaken. He encourages your growth, not your stagnation. He doesn't compete with your soul's journey. He complements it. Here's a metaphor for you. Picture yourself as a flame, steady, bright, warm. A man who loves you doesn't blow on that flame to control it or put it out. He shields it from the wind. He guards it with his hands, making sure it never flickers out. That's protection. Not stifling your fire, but ensuring it keeps burning. And yes, this means he challenges you sometimes. Real protection doesn't always feel like comfort. Sometimes it feels like accountability. He'll call you higher, not hold you down. He'll speak the hard truths because he cares about your soul, not just your smile. Now, I know what you might be asking yourself. What if he's just not the emotional type? What if he doesn't know how to protect me like that? And sure, some men haven't learned how to show up in this way. But here's the thing. A man who loves you will try. He'll stumble, he'll mess up, but you'll see the effort. You'll feel the intention. Love doesn't have to be perfect, but it has to be present. So ask yourself, when you're vulnerable, when your spirit feels shaky, when your heart is wide open, does he guard that space, or does he take advantage of it? Does he build you up, or does he leave you to weather the storms alone? Jung believed that the shoe that fits one person pinches another. There is no recipe for living that suits all cases. And love is the same. It's not one size fits all. But the right love? It always feels like protection. It feels like peace. Stay close. Because sign 4 is where we tie it all together, where love becomes more than just feeling good. It becomes about building something that lasts. And if this spoke to you, don't forget, like, subscribe, and share this message. Let's keep spreading the truth that every woman deserves to be protected, not just physically, but emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. Sign 4. He is consistent, in words and actions. Let's get this straight. Real love shows up, again and again. Not just when the mood strikes, not just when everything's perfect, not just when the sun is shining. Love is consistency. It's the daily choice to stand by someone, not because it's easy, but because it's right. A man who truly loves you, he's steady. He doesn't come and go with the seasons like a drifting tide. He's the anchor in your life, the steady heartbeat that doesn't skip when things get tough. His words and his actions, they match. Always. Anyone can be sweet in the honeymoon phase. Anyone can plan the romantic dates, send the cute texts, make grand promises. But let me ask you this. Where is he when life gets hard? When stress hits? When things don't go as planned? When patience runs thin? Because that's where real love lives. Not in the easy moments, but in the hard ones. Carl Jung put it this way: you are what you do, not what you say you'll do. Consistency is action. It's not about fancy words or big declarations. It's about showing up, again and again, especially when it's not convenient. Love is not a game of when I feel like it. It's a commitment, a daily choice. And a man who loves you makes that choice every single day. He doesn't disappear when things get rough. He doesn't ghost you when life throws a curveball. He doesn't give you just enough to keep you hanging on. You know what that feels like? Waiting, second-guessing, wondering if you're asking for too much. Let me tell you right now, you are never asking too much for someone to be consistent, to show up, to keep their word. And no, consistency isn't about perfection. We all have bad days. We all mess up. But even in those moments, a man who loves you will communicate. He will let you know where he stands and where you stand. You won't be left guessing. You won't feel like you're chasing after his affection, begging for clarity. Think of love like the seasons. Anyone can be around in the spring and summer when everything's blooming. But what about the winter? When the days are cold, when the nights are long, when nothing feels easy? That's when consistency matters. That's when you see who's really there. So, ask yourself, is he there in the winter? Or does he only show up when the flowers are blooming? Because the man who truly loves you, he's steady, constant. His love doesn't waver with the wind. It holds strong, even when everything else feels like it's falling apart. Jung reminds us that knowing your own darkness is the best method for dealing with the darkness of other people. A man who's done that work, he knows how to stand steady, not just for himself, but for you too. Consistency is love. Anything less? It's just noise. And that's the truth. If this message hits home, don't just keep it to yourself. Like, subscribe, share. Let's spread this word. Every woman deserves a love that shows up, stays steady, and never makes her wonder.